for the sake of this YouTube channel, we're going to be customizing shoes. So I think my first one we're going to start off with is making a Jordan 1 custom mid Chicago. I already did it, so for the purpose of getting my first video on, I took it and I destroyed it. So basically we're going to start it all over again. Originally the shoes looked like this, and now we're going to get back to work on it. Did a bunch of acetone and sanding on it on the original paint job that I did, but yeah, for the sake of the video, let's do it again. First things first is the prep. Now, as I said earlier, I already went ahead and sanded it. I used 400 grit and just kind of scuffed it up. One thing I love to do, and I kind of learned over the years, is when you get to the threads, absolutely do not sand any of this threads. You'll get this really kind of puffed out kind of look on it. So majority of it is like sandpaper, the big stuff. When you get to the threads, just go ahead and acetone it really well. As you can see, I taped it all off as well. One thing that I've kind of been testing the waters with, and it's worked out a lot for me, is actually paint the bottom edges first. Okay, so go around, put about 3 or 4 coats of whatever color you're trying to do, paint the bottoms. It makes your tape job a lot easier, because from there you can kind of X-Acto knife out the little edges there. So yeah, that's one little tip. Taped off the Jordan logo. I kind of want to keep that. That's a pain in the butt to do, so we'll keep that factory. Go in, kind of blend it in if we need to. But yeah, this shoe is all taped up, ready to go. We're gonna hit the reds first, so let's get into it. So the paint that I'm going to be using is from Angelus Direct. Here you can see I'm using the red, and I'm also using their additive called Too Thin. The Too Thin just helps thin out the paint and gets it to flow through the gun a lot easier. If you do not use that Too Thin, you're gonna be in for a rough one, let me tell you. It's gonna dry out really easy, it's gonna clog up really easy, and your gun's just gonna kind of splatter the paint rather than let it all come out. So we're gonna start off, first coat, just kind of nice and light, just kind of get some paint down, make sure that the paint is grabbing. If you see your paint kind of dissolving off of the leather, that means that area needs a little bit more prepping. So just go back in there. Yeah, you're gonna ruin your paint job, but trust me, in the end it'll be well worth your time. So go ahead and sand that, re-acetone it, spray it down again, see if it grabs. If it grabs, you're good to go. If it's kind of doing a magic trick and disappearing on you, yeah, you're gonna have to go back in and reapply some acetone and maybe a little bit more sandpapering. The areas that I've seen this happen a lot is really close to the sock liner. A lot of times it's hard to get inside of that area, so take your time when you're acetoning that sock liner. So that way your paint's gonna grab on really easy. You won't have to try and heat it into the shoe as much. So definitely take your time when you get to those areas. Now we're going in, we're just trying to lay some heavier coats now. So we've got our first coat down. Honestly, with this shoe, it's probably like the third coat. So this is where you can go in and get some good coverage, and we'll move on into the white. So I'm finished with the reds. Now we're gonna get into the white area. As you can see, I've taped off the red areas that I've done already. I'm gonna hit all these white areas. One thing to make sure while you're taping, try to get the tape to kind of go underneath all those like creases with, you know, different panels laying over each other underneath the swoosh. That way you just don't get paint in places that you don't want it. A lot of times I can get it with a fingernail, and sometimes you can't. So you can use like a little pick, try to kind of dig it in there, whatever you got to do to get it to go underneath the panels. That's going to be your best bet. Kind of the same process with the reds. You're going to lay down a first kind of light coat just to get some coverage, then you can go in nice and heavy and skip through all the boring parts. So yeah, we're all good to go. Now we're gonna go move into the sock liner. As you can see, I got that too soft. I'm gonna add that into the white That's just gonna help keep the paint kind of soft, keep the tongue nice and soft. You don't want a stiff tongue, and also you don't want thick paint. As you can see, it's pretty easy to scratch off. So all that black that you see, I didn't use enough too soft, and that's scraping off. So you don't want that. So go ahead and make sure that you get that 1-to-1 ratio on that too soft. It's just gonna help kind of soften out the paint and make the tongue still feel like a tongue when you're done. You'll kind of be able to tell if you haven't used enough tooth in. The tongue will feel kind of plasticky. If you feel that, just try to acetone as much off as you can, and add in a little bit more too soft into the paint. Try to just kind of feel your way. One thing that you aren't being shown, my fault, use a heat gun in between each coat. So when you're going through it, you just want to make sure that whenever you're working with the sock liners or any type of tongue that's more of that fabric kind of material and mesh, use that heat gun. It's going to set that paint in real nice. So I'm just going in with the black because the toe line was red before, and yeah, we're done. As you can see, now we got our custom Jordan 1 mid Chicago edition. It came out really nice. I wear it a lot, and we're gonna go ahead and hit this clear coat on it. I'm gonna use a satin finish. I like that satin finish a lot. Spray out the gun just to make sure you're not getting any colors. One thing I do recommend is use like a Q-tip and actually get deep into that gun and clear it out. You don't want to spray this down with any type of pigment on it. It's going to really ruin your paint job. So make sure your gun is clean when you're applying these. They say you can put it straight into the gun and use it. I always add some tooth in into it. These things dry out really easy, so trying to work with it in its raw state can be kind of difficult unless you're really fast and I don't know, you're using it just barely enough. All right, and there you have it. Our custom is done. Now we have our Jordan 1 Chicago mid. Project was really fun to do, not too hard. Getting the toe to get nice and white was a little difficult, but with some patience, it got there. Definitely excited to wear this. See what kind of looks I get. Probably get called fake. You know, that line between customs and fakes are starting to get blurred, especially when you just try to recreate the colors, the colorways. So, but at the end of the day, you can make it your own. Definitely happy with the way this came out. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you'd like to see more, go ahead and subscribe. Leave a comment below on what you think I should try to do next. But I probably will try to come out with more of these. And yeah, until next time, shoot.